Hi all, this is Shopify Kryptonite episode 27. My name is Teemu and I have my great colleague Mikko here with me. Welcome Mikko.
Thank you. Good to see you, Teemu.
Likewise. We're going to start off with the tip of the week, giving additional layer of value to anyone who's listening. So Mikko, please feel free to shoot the tip of the week this week.
I will. It's again like one app-based tip. So the question I'm asked a lot, that what kind of questionnaires I should do when people are buying, should I do NPS, whatever should I do? I will keep repeating myself. There is one excellent tool called Inquire app, which lets you to do a post-purchase survey, so PPS survey on Shopify's thank you page. It's used by many of the biggest clients in the planet. When you look at direct to consumer brands, it's used by many of our clients and it's amazing. You can decide the questions yourself. And then I will add why this is the tip of the week. The question that I've usually received, that why can't I ask many questions out of that on a thank you page? And what's the difference? Why can't I do all the NPS study there? And the thing why it is so very effective is that you will only ask that single question. And the second thing why it's so effective is that it's directly integrated into the checkout and the thank you page, which means that when looking at our cases, the response rates have been from 62% up to over 90%. So if you really want to ask the client a question just after the client has purchased from you, as example, why did you choose from me? Where did you hear from us? Or a question like that, that's pure gold. So strong recommendation with that solution.
That's a perfect tip. Thank you, Mikko. Do you want to lift the elephant on the table and then tell our customers which topic we're going to be talking about today?
Definitely. This is one of my all-time favorites. So Headless Solutions. If I'm a bigger brand, I want to have the best possible experience on mobile and all these devices. Should I continue or move to Shopify Plus? Or should I go Headless plus Shopify? And what are these options and what does this decision mean for my big future?
That's, like I already mentioned, it's basically an elephant that nobody usually wants to touch, at least without giving any good explanations what different kind of setups mean. So maybe we can kind of address headless commerce first, and the way how we see it, like a kind of a explanation for headless would be that in short summary, we basically built the back end in Shopify or with different platforms, but usually in our cases that would be Shopify. And the front layer of the site, the online store, then it's basically being built and then hosted with a external system. And before I kind of go into the pros and cons, I think there might be kind of many reasons why people are thinking about it. And the reasons might be that there's actually a demand. Like we need to have something on the site, which is almost impossible to do with Shopify themes, even with kind of custom built themes. Somebody might be considered about the page speeds, and what we've kind of seen pretty much in the late couple of years is that I think it's been a kind of a trendy thing to do a headless type of setup, where some agencies kind of really love to work with Contentful or some headless platform that you can do nice designs, but it has its downsides. What do you think, Mikko? Am I kind of close with my guessing work here?
You're definitely on the right track. I've used different headless solutions and help clients that have like different type of solutions, and that's definitely like one of the reasons. So you are willing to go like damn fast. You feel that hey, the site speed that a basic Shopify theme is offering isn't good enough, Or then the second reason might be that you are selling something very different, or you don't want to get rid of your like existing website, or you have a very complex thing there. So then you would like to have that in separation from the Shopify. And they feel that that would be sort of like it's meant that this is the future of commerce, so that it can be used with all different type of devices. Shopify's own example is that it can be in the future. It means that it can be even in vending machines running like headless solution. So that's pretty much the track. But as you said, from our point of view and the experiences, is that it's not exactly the solution that will like fix all of your problems, and it actually causes some problems, but still it's always like case by case when you should go for that. So what would your like estimation be, Teemu? When should you even consider a headless solution? And secondly, what does that mean when you talk about like costs and estimating the costs?
That's a good question, and I would kind of start the discussion from the other pros and cons. So we agree that with the kind of the upsides with the headless solutions are that you can, at least in theory, you can get a quicker site. In theory, sometimes the real life might prove you wrong, but you might kind of have the option that you can make a really quick site. And then kind of already need to mention that Shopify isn't that slow if you build it right, but you can basically do a quicker site. And then I think the biggest pro that you can kind of have on a headless solution is that you have kind of parts of complicated content on the website or on the online store that would be kind of really hard to build on Shopify themes, because Shopify themes basically always use the same kind of structure, that you have the front page, you have the product pages, you have the collection pages, and then you have content pages. And if kind of the buying process, the customer journey that we need to have on site is really tricky, that you answer in questionnaires and then you build some kind of a configuration or setup, then we might see that we're going to have some issues with the regular themes. So that would be kind of the biggest reason why we would even kind of consider a headless setup, that there's actually a business need that kind of dictates that we need to kind of at least consider or absolutely go into the headless world. But again, we are living in an ecosystem, meaning that Shopify is a whole lot more than just a platform. So when we're not in the headless world, we're going to be putting in Klaviyo, we're going to be putting in Yotpo, we're going to kind of get all those components and features that are already available in the Shopify ecosystem. The integrations are ready, so we don't have to spend any money or time to actually start using the solutions that are available in the ecosystem. And this is the part that I'm actually sure that most of the companies that have decided to go headless haven't kind of considered all the way through, because here we are in a world where the front layer is built on Contentful or some other CMS system, and then we want to have product reviews. And what used to be a simple integration on Shopify themes is now basically an integration project. We need to kind of do a lot of coding work that we can implement these new basic features that would have been available in the ecosystem, and kind of spend money in the building part already. And it doesn't stop there, because it's going to be a whole custom thing that you're going to be then kind of having and running. And then you're going to need to spend more money on the hosting. You're going to need to spend more money on probably like fixing small bugs. And I think the biggest downside with the headless is that the merchant himself or herself, there's a really limited amount of things that they do with the content. If you want to switch a hero image, I've seen cases where the merchant or merchants themselves cannot access the CMS part of the headless setup. They cannot even change the hero image of the site without paying like a couple of hours of work for their developer or agency. So I would be really careful to kind of go blindly into the headless world if you don't have justifications coming from your business.
Right. And I loved your example. I can tell you a small story. I was a merchant back in 2017 when we tried out Headless. And my first experience as a merchant was that, hey, who did cut off the lights? All the Shopify apps stopped the work. I was able to still see sales from Shopify Send, but nothing ever like work as it used to be in the past. This being said, we need to understand that there are like great variety of headless solutions. So some will support some apps, but not out of the box those Shopify apps. So as example, we know that some headless solutions do support Yotpo, but configuring that will take more time than getting that up and running on your Shopify Plus store. So that's one thing to understand. And then the practical thing that what I've noticed is that if you have like in-house coders, you are that big of an enterprise, then you are probably in a bit more better situation than if you are like getting that all from a consultancy company or a partner company. Then it becomes like very, very full of hurdles in most cases, because you realize that, hey, this headless solution wasn't exactly what I was looking for, or that it has those things that need to be fixed. And the thing that what we have learned so far is that the amount of things that need to be fixed is like pretty tremendous. It's like things keep going and coming just like that. And maybe they're like the sort of like even funny or ironic part is that mainly these fixes are such that in default Shopify themes are already fixed. Or you're able to do those changes, do some visual changes, do some changes when it comes to certain actions, CTA buttons and stuff like that. So then it of course like depends on your solution, that why to go there. And then the thing that I at least keep like challenging our clients is that what are your solutions or reasons why you choose to have this like headless solution? I know headless solutions that which are working really well. I know headless solutions that are a complete mess and everything in between. But the question that I try to address to these clients before they make the final calls, that should I still go with Shopify Plus or Headless plus Shopify, is that what are the actual benefits you are willing to gain? Is it just the site speed? Is it the fact that you are selling something that is so different, so extraordinary that no Shopify theme can help you? Or is it just that, hey, this is this nice buzzword, I really want to invest back, put lots of money in e-commerce as I used to do with my old IBM or Magento. I want to now be heavy and invest into the future, even though we don't know what will quite happen in the future, and forgetting that you are doing this e-commerce for the client. You are not doing this because of the tech. You are doing this for the clients and their needs, and then doing a very good comparison table that what does this actually bring to my clients? What does this mean for my sales in comparison to going with a Shopify Plus and having the best possible theme there with all the Shopify amazing apps and everything. So what kind of stack do I wish to have, and from like business perspective, what kind of business goals do I have? What do you think about this? Am I on the right track?
Yes, you are. And then the last phrase that you mentioned about the business goals, that's where you should start. So if your business has like 500 or 1,000 products, you plan to open up a online store or do a new one. You want to serve your customers with loyalty programs, with collect reviews. You want to do really detailed tracking on what they do on the site. That's actually one thing where headless setups usually fail, that you kind of are doing part of the customer journey in the headless environment, and then when you go and buy, you're going to be in Shopify's checkout which is kind of messing with the analytics. But if we back it up, and then if we want to do a lot of things, we want to kind of keep the road open. I cannot basically see a single reason why you should go for headless. If in option B, we want to have a couple of products that are heavily customized, or you're going to have really complicated content on the site, you know for a fact that you are going to do like 50 countries. You know that you're going to be focusing only on the page speeds. You know that you're not going to do kind of any development on the side with new features. Then headless might be a good solution. But again, kind of you need to know the current needs that you have, and then you need to kind of see a bit further that what you kind of might need along the way when the business grows, when you get new countries, when you want to serve the customers better. But again, I think overall we feel that the headless has been maybe a bit kind of overhyped. Yep. And it's kind of a trendy thing. But there are some things, like we've already mentioned a couple of times, where it actually might be useful. So we don't want to be absolutely saying that we are always against headless. But like more than 90% of the cases that we've seen, we've discussed, we've done, regular Shopify setup has been the best way to go.
Right. And then I did a study. I was looking at these big American D2C companies, how many are currently like running with headless. And the study I did a while back was that roughly like 1/3 is running with headless, and then 2/3 are running with Shopify Plus in most cases. So that's the current ratio. What will happen in 2021, 2022, we don't quite know yet, but seems that you are still able to scale pretty up high, even with Shopify Plus, a really good team there, good development, and focusing on the business side. So that's sort of like our take. And then also replying to some of the basic questions that I'm usually asked. One thing is that if I do headless plus Shopify, do I need to pay less for Shopify? No, you have to pay the full price. So that doesn't give you any like financial support to develop headless solutions more. Currently, at least, that goes like that. And then the second thing is that what about the analytics and the apps? So as you, Teemu, really well mentioned, your Shopify analytics will look a bit dumb because it doesn't track anything that is happening in your headless solution. So you only get the checkout and the order. So you're pretty much like using Shopify as a order management system. You are using their checkout and that's pretty much it. So you are using Shopify only like partly. And then that being said, that what about the apps? That's the basic question, I guess the most common question. We've done lots of study regarding the apps, and the basic take is that headless solutions don't support Shopify apps. However, there are certain apps that still are working, and those are mainly apps that are linked to the checkout or processes that happen after the checkout. And even in those, it's case by case how those apps are working. And the, like, I guess the naughty or the difficult part is that even some of those promise that they will work perfectly with headless solutions, and they don't. So we have lately experienced some issues there. So then you should be like really aware of this thing, that you are not able to use basic Shopify apps, and you might be able to use some that are linked to checkout or data that is like analyzing data gathered during the checkout, but they might not work as they would in a basic Shopify environment store.
Maybe one comment that we can basically say for last, and I can mention it here, is that we met some people from Shopify sites earlier this year. And then one of them, who's basically responsible of all the technology development, mentioned that it's basically his personal mission that Shopify themes are so good that there will be no need for headless commerce. And I think we're going to see the first version with the new theme update that's hopefully coming soon, where the sections are going to be going throughout the theme. So kind of think about the flexibility and then scalability that will give you as a merchant. And then no headless setup will be kind of anytime even close with that amount of flexibility that you can access with that setup.
Right. That's good to hear.
Yeah. I think we've made our point clear for everyone who's been listening about the headless setups, and hope you got some valuable information from this. And if you have any questions regarding the headless or Shopify itself, standalone systems, just feel free to give us an email or call, and we're going to be happy to do a discussion with you. This was episode 27, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
We'll be back in a week. Thank you for listening or watching.
Take care. Good luck with the business. Bye-bye.